Hey everybody, welcome back to the 98th, I think, episode of Taps and Patience. I am AJ with Audacity Micro, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity, and we have Chris Zap of, I don't remember your
Zappettini
company name,
Consulting.
Zappettini Consulting.
Yeah,
How you doing, man?
I'm good. On the road. On the road once more.
Are you ever not on the road?
I'm on the road like 90% of the time, something like that. It's a lot. I was home this weekend and I slept in my own bed like 2 nights in a row, which is pretty cool. And most of next week ish, I have a job that's like 15 minutes from my house, which is also pretty cool.
Oh, that would be nice. Now,
Yeah,
with
very
all that
rare.
traveling, do you have a lot of family back home, or do you just kind of a solo guy just kind of running around?
Pass. I mean, like I have
Pass. Okay, that's fine.
family. Yeah, I have family in Arizona, so like when I go there, I stay like with my sister, and I have family in California. Like my aunt lives there, so I'll like stay with her when I'm there, and then like my brother lives in my house, which is in Massachusetts, so I see him. His girlfriend just moved back in, I think, and my fridge is already a disaster, and that's a fucking problem. But like, that's a different. It's not a podcast with me if we're not talking about food. So that's how that goes. Yeah. So I mean, it. I'm the not having like a home base is very interesting. Like I often like wake up when I'm like, where the fuck am I right now? You know,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun and cool. Like like IMTS was probably the most stationary I've been in a while, like spending like
Oh
a
my
week and a half
goodness.
in Chicago. And then last week I was mostly in Maryland, and this week I'm pretty much mostly in Maryland. But there was like a very big, like a couple weeks where I basically traveled like, I think the week after IMTS or the week, 2 weeks after IMTS, I think I did like 7 states in 7 days or something like that. Like I was
Oh
in
my.
Indiana, I was in Ohio. I was really close to AJ. I almost like if these fucking clowns didn't fuck me, I was gonna go stop by his shop, but like I just like I was so fired up. It's I but yeah, I was there. I was in Ohio, saw Justin, Toolpath, and like just kind of like all over the fucking place, ping ponging all over the country.
Oh man. That's
were
So
you
crazy.
at the
yeah,
Were you at the big medical company up in
this, the one that
Warsaw or
starts with
Wabash,
a
whatever it is?
Z. um, I mean, in Warsaw, Indiana, there's like one company, and
Okay.
it's Zimmer. And so I may or may not have been there, but probably was there
Okay.
for something.
Gotcha. So,
Yeah.
so I honestly haven't listened to every single podcast you've been on. So,
Wow.
pardon
Rude.
me if you've answered some of these before.
Yeah.
But what kind of got you into this line of work? Like, how did you start building up all these relationships to get into all these different places?
I worked in the machine tool industry for like 5 years. So I worked at Methods in Arizona for 3 years. And I left for a little bit and went to California. I worked at Plethora for like 6 months where that's how I like got in with Selway really. But then I left like Plethora, went back to Methods, stayed a little bit in Arizona, then moved to Boston to work out of the headquarters. And that was kind of like what really unlocked it for me was working with like a lot of the executives and the higher ups and stuff. And so that was cool. And I just left. Then I left there again because I didn't really like how the CEO was running the place. Like 2018 was like a boon for the industry, and 2019 we were like laying people off. And it was mostly like a mismanagement of funds or whatever, like just overbuying and having a weird
Gotcha.
amount of inventory. And I was getting like pigeonholed hard into like doing just Nakamura stuff. So I fucking bounced and I went to California. And that's when I like rekindled my relationship with Selway. And it turns out like the nice thing about the machine tool industry is that it's small. It's like very, very small. Like most everybody at IMTS like that's like in a booth like knows each other because they've all worked at like the same fucking companies. It's super incestuous. So if you go from like one place to the other, like you have your guys that you like to work with. And I kind of have like a reputation of getting things done, like, which is kind of hard right now because I have way, way too much work, but like we still like crush for the most part. It's just like not as timely as it should be. But when you crush, people like that you crush. And like there's this whole thing about applications engineers, which is most of them fucking suck at making parts. No offense to any of them out there. And like, but they're really, really good on the machine. Like they should, their whole thing about an apps guy isn't making parts. It's like he is a sales tool for the company to show you how to use the machine the most effective way to make your parts. Like an applications engineer is relying on you to know how to cut and him to know the machine really well, and like tying that whole like kind of merging that knowledge together. And so where I come in is like I know how to be an apps guy. I'm pretty good at that, and I can also make parts. So these guys, like like Sellways, probably our biggest one is if we do really well, they like us to do their turnkeys. Like we do almost every turnkey for Sellway, especially if it's on a Matsura, and they'll sell it. Their guys will do all the pre-sale for it, and then we'll come in afterwards and just do the project because of essentially opportunity cost.
Gotcha.
Like like a $20,000 to $80,000 turnkey is like nothing on like $1 million, $2 million machine tool sale. You know, like we'll just let Zap take care of that, and we'll fuck off, go sell some more machines.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of it just comes into having like straight white guy confidence and like not being afraid to like talk to anybody and everybody, you know. It works out. Like you piss people off or whatever, but most of the time, like if I'm pissing people off, I don't want them to be on my side anyway, so fuck them.
To be honest, you kind of have the same energy as my first boss that I had whenever I was got out of college. He was he very, very good at what he did, but he pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the customer that I'm at right now in Maryland, it's like they're like an OE, like they make their own product.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting because like they brought me in to like help program, but it like this happens fairly often. Is like I can't like just program for the most part because there's more to it than that. Like, okay, so you have a tool library. What are we doing here? Whatever. And like a lot of the time they don't like, what are we trying to accomplish? And like coming to find out, like they have tool library kinda, but it like basically they'll like fire it off into the ether, and then the guy on the floor will just like build a tool however he feels like, you know? And that never gets back to the programmer because they like never go look at it or check. And so it's just like constantly diverging.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare. And so I'm basically like I've spent like most of last week like being like, yo, this is fucked up and like your system is broken. And one of the guys was like, are you saying that I broke it? It's like, no, I'm not saying you broke it, but I'm not saying you're fixing it either. You know, like you're just in a broken system and he's like, well, I just tried to like hold the line. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, that's fucked up. Like it's not working. Like you're not getting parts out fast enough. And like your things just are like the tools don't match. And this is like one machine of like 30 machines that is like this. I told the guy, the GM or whatever, I was like, I'm surprised anything flows through this shop at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. And so they were all pissed off or whatever, but you know, fuck them. It sucks to be like, you know, you hold the mirror up or whatever. It's okay.
So you obviously see a lot more of manufacturing than most people. Like you're in a lot more shops than, you know, me or Harrison is. What are the kind of trends you're seeing in manufacturing? Like, what are the good shops doing? What are the bad shops not doing? Like, where are things going?
I mean, almost all bad shops do the same thing, which is like they make everything a fucking like such a mission, you know? Every little thing is like this gigantic problem, and it's like just shut the fuck up and do the work, you know? Like it's like, oh, I don't have time to build a tool library. I don't have time to model this. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. But it's like you're just fucking up constantly. So like why like what do you mean you don't have time? That was like my argument with these guys that I'm at today, which is like we don't have time to like audit the tool lists on a weekly basis. It's like we've sat down multiple times at that fucking table for 30 minutes. Like why aren't we doing if we just did that at the machine instead, then that's an auditing session. You know, we have the conversation at the machine and like it's just shifting the processes. So like what I often see of like and I like of bad shops is people just like they have little to no process and they like very reticent to just like push it to the side to like get shit done, and we'll fix it later, but it like never gets fixed later. And so it's just this constant fucking battle and like firefighting essentially. Good shops are very, I mean, it's just like the opposite, right? They're very process driven. Like you spend the time, like I told them today, it's like I'm gonna spend the day to just model every single tool in this machine so that like we can just start firing programs off, you know, instead of like start getting into a program and like, oh, I need to go model this tool. I need to go model this tool. It's like, fuck it. I'm just going to spend the day. I'm going to do all, you know, whatever, 150 tools. And now I have them forever. They're exactly how they are on the machine. And that's crystallized and that's probably not going to change. So it is a day of like not programming, but that makes every program after that faster, and good shops will recognize that is that a little bit of time now, like in most cases, will save time in the future, you know? And like I guess like the bigger shops with like more money, you know, will be pushing more towards like automation and some in most cases like it maybe not even just having the automation but prepping for the automation, you know, like doing the tool library thing and having like your chip management and getting like basically all the cheap stuff done before you have the robot, like
Mm.
because like I mean I scream from a soapbox constantly about this is like, and like you hear people say it all the time, it's like you like the robot like in any automation will exacerbate any process issue you have. And so like the shops that are like really forward thinking or are like trying to dial their shit in either before automation or they're totally fucking dialed in with automation already, you know. That's kind of, I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
No, that's a great answer. I was just
One
listening
of
to that answer and trying to apply it to what we're doing, and
Mhm.
I would say the biggest thing that I see, at least from that conversation on the whole process point, and it's something that we're trying to solve, and it's the scrappy shop trying to figure it out. Is I have all my tooling modeled as much as I can,
Right.
but if I'm trying to get a job going and I have a bunch of pre-staged tools, I will look for the tool that is the least common that I'm going to need, and that's the tool holder that it goes in next, rather than
Right.
saying this tool is always going in this style of holder.
Mm,
The
yeah,
time that it becomes really critical, where I will spend that time to do it, quote unquote, the right way, is anything 5 axis. Anything 5 axis
for sure.
gets perfectly modeled.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, valid, you know? Like, 3-axis stuff, you can be a little more lax on, you know? I will concede that for sure. It's nice to have it, but, like, as soon as you, like, start rotating in any way,
Hmm.
now it becomes a much bigger problem because like, the holder matters, and that was, like, one of the conversations I had today with the guy because they have in their in the library that they have with holders, all that like the shortest ER11 they have is a 60 or 70 millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
and the like a lot of holders, probably at least like 15 or 20 of them were in like 2 inch, like 50 millimeter ER11 holders. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, why would that matter? It's like, well, if I was expecting the flange to clear, and
Mm-hmm.
like I was getting really tight, and now all of a sudden I'm 20 millimeters closer, we're crashing,
Mm-hmm.
like and he, like, it had never occurred to him at all that you can't just like change the holder, like, and like versus what's like prescribed on the setup
Yeah.
sheet. And
Yeah.
that happens constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So right now I have exactly one style of tool holder,
Cool.
and on one machine, obviously. In the near
Yeah.
future, that'll be multiple styles of tool holders on two different machines. How would you handle that in a tool library? Would you have a separate library for each machine,
Yes.
or
Yep.
okay?
I like to, I mean, if you can, I mean, it's like the if you can if you can plan it out, I kind of like to have like your standard tool library, and then like a special tool library to like separate those out. Because at one of the places that I worked at, that the the guy that started the tool library thing was like very adamant about having one library. And
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, what that turned into is like, you'd be like, "Oh, this tool is fucking perfect for this job." It's like, nope, that was specific to another job. We have exactly one of those set up, and you can't break it down, and we don't have more, so now we have to buy that. And so having like your standard library, like these tools never get broken down, and then like your like I guess tools that you will set up frequently but will get broken down occasionally is a good one. And then kind of just like a list of holders or whatever. And then, yeah, I mean, especially if your machines are set up differently for whatever reason, like separate libraries for sure, unless they're like exactly the same one to one.
No, ISO 20 versus BT 30 with
Yeah,
wildly
yeah, yeah.
different
Absolutely. Like,
spindles
there's
and
zero
yeah.
reason to keep those both in the same library. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Not a
Okay.
disaster, but like an annoyance waiting to happen.
Yeah, right now I have a library of core tools, which are tools that are in my ATC at any given time. Then I have what I call swing tools, which may or may not be set, but they are
Right.
something that I inventory. And then I have
Yep.
special tools, which are,
Yeah.
job specific or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, core tool library, swing tool library, special library,
Do
and
oh, go ahead. I didn't mean
no,
to
that
cut
was
you
it.
off.
Go for it.
Do you stick with however many tool numbers are in the machine, like pockets or capacity wise, or do you like to go beyond? So like my Haas can hold 200 tools, my Doosan can hold 600 tools in a tool table
In offsets.
in offsets. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you like to keep them in like the first 1 through 30, and then whenever
No,
you
I'm in the like, because on my Matsura I have 30 tools,
hmm
but I will have tools like drills, taps, reamers, or whatever set
hmm
up. But like, I don't want to keep them in the machine all the time, so that they'll go 36, 40, whatever, and I keep the offsets in there, and I'll just go into the table and change the number. Like, if I'm not using a tool, take one out, put a new one in, switch the
okay,
number, and keep it that way. Like, some people don't really like to do that, I know, but for me, especially
okay,
because I don't have any probing or anything, and I know like it's just me that the tool's not changing, I'm pretty confident that like, but I'm very into, especially if you're going to keep the tools set up, like, yeah, fucking you have the offsets, use them.
yeah. That's how I have been in both the Haas and the Doosan techs. Whenever I was explaining this to them, like they're like, "No one does this. This is the worst decision ever."
No, really, that's interesting.
In fact,
We
my
have opinions
Doosan,
about his Doosan guys.
yeah,
Huh?
my Doosan guys, they were like, "Oh yeah." I was looking at the table. I'm like, "Oh, it goes up to 400," and they're like, "Yeah." and I tried to start loading it up with tools, and there was something in the ladder logic that if you went over tool 69 giggity, it
Yeah.
would automatically designate it as a large tool, any tool larger than
Huh.
69.
Interesting.
And they had to go. The guy spent about 3 hours in the ladder logic on the PLC to figure out what was triggered to go switch that over.
Huh. Yeah. That is bizarre. But that's fucking Doosan for you. Just doing some real fucky shit that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm figuring that out more and more,
Yeah.
which is sad because
You
I've
know.
it's a really good machine mechanically, but that controller has been the biggest source of pain for
It's
me
a
using it.
lathe or a mill?
Mill
Which one?
SVM 5100L
Okay. That's like a VF2 size machine?
4.
4. Nice. 20 by
So
40? Is that 20 by 40?
20 by
40
50.
by 20 by 50. Hell yeah.
And I've got a fourth axis on it, and I kind of want to put it off to the side as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the work because basically the table is the same area as the machine area. It might be like 2 or 3 inches larger than the work area, and so I
Yeah.
want to move. I want to get a riser and move my fourth axis into off the edge.
Yeah. We just bought like a ground plate off of McMaster and popped some holes in it and then just slid it off to the side for the project. That worked. That's been working really well.
How thick?
Like just 1 inch of
Oh,
steel.
really?
Yeah.
And it does a tuning fork on you?
No, I mean, what we're doing is like very light duty.
Okay. I got some. I don't know if it'd be considered light or heavy. It's heavier for compared to our average. I've got some parts that are A36 steel. They're about 6.5 inches long, 2.5 inch square that I'm machining the parts out of, and I want to put them on the fourth axis to drill some holes on some sides.
Nice.
So I want to machine op 1 and vices, and then put them on the rotary, do op 2, and then pop the side hole.
Yeah. You think about getting like a trunnion, like a Martin trunnion, and just putting it all on the trunnion?
I've already got a fourth axis, but I don't.
Right. But I mean, not getting a trunnion like a TRT. I mean, like getting like a trunnion that moves this way. That's like
Oh,
a big flat.
Like a
Yeah,
swing.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird that those are the same
Same
terminology.
word.
It's kind of
Yeah,
fucked up.
Yeah. I definitely want to do that because I have some parts that are around 25 inches long that are long and narrow that have some tapers on them in different angles, and I'm having to
Mhm.
ball mill the whole thing right now.
Yeah,
And
fuck that.
so what I would, if I could do everything, for one, I'm trying to figure out what 0 point system I want to put on the system on the machine.
Yeah,
And
let's
if
go
I could,
shunk. It's nice.
I like Shunk if I could afford it.
Yeah, they're all
expensive.
expensive. They're all
They are.
expensive.
But what I would like to do in an ideal world is line it up in such a way that I could put a trunnion like that on. Because I'm thinking I'm going to put a Lang plate on the fourth axis,
Mm-hmm.
and then because I can put a through bore on it, I can't do a through bore with a Shunk.
Sure.
So I have to do a Lang plate on that if I'm going to retain the ability to pass bars through it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in an ideal world, I'd be able to put a Lang plate quick change to the trunnion and then have it line up with my 0 point system where I can bolt down the tailstock end of the trunnion, or I can pop that all off and put vices on the whole table type deal. That's what I
Right.
really want to do.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
ultimate goal.
there's a lot of like machine config going on there that I don't know if that's all necessary, but I get it.
It's probably not all necessary, but I despise setup and teardown, and I will spend a lot of time and energy and money to make it easier.
Then what's the point of the 0 point system, baby? That's what that was all. That's
Well,
what that whole thing's all about.
Well, I know, but I'm looking at Lang for everything because I've already invested some into the Lang system, and
Uh-huh.
I'm already going to have Lang on the fourth axis. I've already determined that that's pretty much the only way I'm going to be able to do it on the fourth. And so if I can keep the same 0 point system through everything, I'd like to,
Right.
because I don't want to intermix as much as if I can help it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to doing the Shunk. like if I can find justification where it's like makes like there's a solid argument for the investment and it'll pay off in the long run, then I have no problem doing that. It's not as much about the money at that point, but at the same time, I haven't found anything that has shown me that the value of investing that into that offsets what I can do with the others.
Yeah. It just lends itself to automation a lot easier. Just being based on air, and it's really like the 2 station chunk system's $4,500, which is which is cheaper than the 4x4 lang plate. So like, and you can fit some pretty dope shit on there. Like it's a like if you want like quick change, like Shunk's the way to go. I mean, it does
Yeah,
add more
yeah,
Z, a little bit more Z, and it does like have the added advantage of being able to like basically instantly automate if you feel like with pallets. Or like you don't really get that with the Lang
mm,
necessarily, and it's faster.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I definitely see those benefits of it. What I'm kind of leaning towards right now is I'd like to have automation. I'd like to have pallets and I'd like to have part loading. And so what
Hmm.
I'm leaning towards is doing my Doosan as a part loading machine
Okay.
and doing my Haas as a pallet loading machine.
Right.
And
Interesting.
because my Haas has the 5 axis, and I think that lends itself better to pallet loading personally than part loading.
Yeah. Oh.
And I think my Doosan, because I have the 4th axis and that big plate, it'd be much easier to set up a couple vices, and I could either do it with a robot or I could do it with a gripper system because I have that much table space. I could have a couple vices. I could do it with the flip station
Yeah.
deal and have it all on there, or I could do it with a robot loading parts into a vice.
Yeah. I'm kind of always partial to direct part loading, like period.
Oh yeah, I'd
It's
like to do that as much as I can.
Yeah, but I mean the option's good regardless. And I mean again, like if you go Shunk, you can kind of do both. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yep.
like Shunk has the KSL or whatever it is. They have one that has pneumatic pass through built into it, so
Mm-hmm.
you could like put an air vise on your thing, or so you then now you can control
Mm-hmm.
that with air, or you can pallet load if you so choose.
Yeah.
It's a lot more versatile
They
than
also have the one that I didn't know. I just had a Zoom meeting with them here recently with our shunk rep, but they have one that they have air actuated on the actual robot grippers
right.
that can control the vice. I didn't know about that one
Yeah. Yeah, they got a bunch of cool shit. Like Shunk
for
kind of
sure.
rips.
For sure.
That's like one of the other things is they fucking rip, and they'll wheel and deal with you a little bit. Like absolutely wheel and deal a little bit with you more than like Langwood. That's why you should go HWR too.
What's that?
the That's this. It's a Lang like thing. It's basically the same shit. Like legitimately uses the same pull studs and everything. And Thomas is rad, and he'll work a deal with you more than Lang will.
Gotcha. Interesting. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, and they're local to this guy over here, kind of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So my goal is to set up automation in a like design for a high mix workload. Like I want to automate onesies, twosies.
Okay.
How would you do that?
I mean, you can still direct part load onesie twosie stuff, like especially like because you like if you like your machine specifically is just like it's a 3 axis, right?
Yeah.
So you have a vice or whatever. I mean, it depends on what your second op shit looks like. Like second op is a lot harder, but like first op's a little bit easier, especially if you're not doing like weird shit like tape and glue or whatever. Like that's that's something else. And like if you're gonna be doing like a lot of tape and glues or like vacuum stuff, then you might be better off like with a pallet system. Well,
If you're vacuuming,
50. Huh?
if you're vacuuming, I think part loading would actually be
Yeah,
easier.
it
That's true.
depends. It all depends. But I like You could throw like a robo wrench on your fucking vise and like onesie twosie that shit all day long. Like by like you just kind of like grip off of your top hat or whatever, and you're out of there, which is cool. That's how I mean, like it's tough to say like anything is definitive. Like you do
Mm-hmm.
like little baby small parts, so that might be a way to go for you.
What would you
Or
do for op2s and so ons then?
Uh, that's a tougher. It's really like it so depends on what the part looks like, you know. An easy one is like if the parts are fairly prismatic, you can kind of just like flip the parts upside down and like direct part load off of the top hat into soft jaws and call it a day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I've ever made a part where I could just grab it in a vise for op2. At
Yeah.
least not
Yeah,
recently.
so I mean, it just kind of like op2 is like the toughest thing to automate without like a palette system, you know. At the moment, anyway.
So can I tell you
Yeah.
my current plan?
Sure.
So I just got my first few pieces of an Aroa system. Thanks,
Okay.
Breaking Taps. So my plan was with the small Aroa pallets. Right now, I just have the manual base, but a knockoff pneumatic base that's Aroa compatible is shockingly cheap.
Mhm.
So my plan was to set it up the Tormach I have on the way with the Tormach robot, which is really tightly integrated into the controller. And it can actually the robot can choose which program to run on the controller and then run it.
Mhm.
And it can read probe inputs and stuff like that. But my plan was to have just like a big grid of Aroa fixtures, and the robot would have a routine to be able to pick up any of those fixtures and then load them into the mill. And then
It's like a palette system.
yeah, pallet. This is all pallet. It's
Yeah.
pallet loading. That's the short answer here. And then I figured I could have it. So like for op1, that's easy. You put material in a vise, you put the vise in the right spot in the pallet grid, you hit go, it picks it up, it loads it, it runs it. And then I could just have pre-set up vices that are ready to have soft jaws machined in them.
Mhm.
So it could do the op1. It could, well, actually, probably it would do the soft jaws first. It'd pick up the soft jaw vice, machine the soft jaws, put it back, pick up the op1, run the op1, put it back, and then they operate me. Then I could move the part from the op1 vice into the soft jaws that are already set up while it's
Mhm.
running, some other program. Then it could just pick up that vice again and then run op2.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So that's doesn't sound too crazy.
No, I mean that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal of
Okay.
like a palette system. I don't you like so you have a grid inside the machine and outside
No,
the machine?
it would just be a grid on the outside.
Okay, gotcha.
And I've been kind of slowly tinkering with like a palette management software kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever actually going to work. It's kind of more of a hobby at this point, and if it works, it works. But
Yeah, how do you plan like cuz I saw that on your stories or whatever. So like how does that how like do you have like a SDK or whatever for
so
the robot to like integrate with it?
so this is why I specifically like the Tormach robot with the Tormach machine is it's all just Python.
Okay.
And right now, all of the automation in Fusion is happening in the post. So it just spits out a what's called a JSON file, which is just a machine readable
Right.
text document, basically. And it'll have all the information it needs in there. The robot can then read that. And with the little Python app I have, choose which palette to run when.
Right.
Where that's the theory.
Yeah. Are you going to have anything like that like the robot uh knows what it's picking up?
I have no idea yet.
Yeah. Like
Haven't gotten that
RFID
far.
or something or like binary.
Yeah.
To like just like to verify that it did indeed pick up the right thing.
Getting the information to the robot about like the stock size and shape is trivial. Like that basically already happens now with my current script.
Right.
But I obviously haven't started on any of the robot side. My baby step is I want I can take all the same information. The same information that the robot's going to need is actually really handy when you are setting the part up yourself. Like, which programs you need to run in which order, where you're setting the work coordinate system, what material, what size, what tools you need for the program, etc. Like, that's handy for the operator. So my baby step is just to have a tablet out there that will automatically update with all of the right information. Basically, just an automatic setup sheet.
Right.
And I can kind of work through, like, I can just pretend to be the robot for a bit before actually making that investment.
You're going to make the noises?
Yes,
Like,
definitely.
Beep, boop, beep. Did you like move shit around? So you're going to be using like a bunch of different work offsets for this thing?
I have no idea yet. How would you do that?
I would probably use like 2.
Would you like just programmed off the Aero base, basically?
Basically, yeah. I would have one for probing and like one for cutting.
Okay.
Like, so the one for probing like never changes. It is just like the top center of the base plate, and that like it says like I often use like P5, and then if we need to like probe verify whatever, that turns into P6, and then we cut with P6. And then it just kind of like, it just makes it very easy and simple.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that.
It gets it out of the range where people, and it gets it out of the range where people will mess up your origins just by doing random things on the machine.
Right. Yeah. I like to use the extended work offsets as much as possible, because like people don't really use them that much, and then have one, like almost always like one offset that the probe uses and one that's for cutting. So then like we did one project where it was like 40 or 50 programs like per vice, and we had to take them off and put them back on, and you just find 2 work offsets, one for each vice, and then they're all good. That you don't change anything else. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So on some of the turnkeys that you do you program the robots and set them all up like this, or is that something that you just worry about it once it's in the machine and ready to run?
I only care about the cutting. Like if I'm doing anything with like automation, for the most part, I'm doing that with Lights Out Manufacturing.
Gotcha. So they take care of that. They take care of getting it in and out, and you just deal with everything after that.
Yeah, and so like a couple of the projects we're working on right now is this like we're like doing a like kind of semi-automated solutions, where in both cases, like we have 2 projects, one that's active right now we're in the middle of, that's in Washington, and then one that starts in like 3 weeks basically, that's in North Idaho, that it's like Lights Out will be following us. So we're doing a bunch of shit like that we normally wouldn't do, but get it like in order to like prep for robot stuff. Like just really dialed in, like in both cases, like using pneumatic vices and like swing clamps and pneumatic work holding with like switches and everything, so that we can very easily like hot swap from a manual situation to an automated situation very easily, which takes a little bit more figuring than normal. So like we are taking it to that point, and then once we're done and we have like a solid process, again, kind of going back to like the quote unquote right way to do it is like AJ, you're gonna find out when you start to do this, like, oh, I need to fucking I like you're I would say be very mindful of like where and how you're blowing off parts and your pallets when you're like interacting with them, because it's like, oh, I might need to like shoot fucking coolant up to the bottom of my pallet so that it stays clear for when the robot goes. It's not that big of a deal, things like that. Oh, this is real quick side note. These kids, they're like mid-20s or whatever, wanted like an air blow, a programmable air blow on their Haas, So what did they do? They fucking rigged this thing up. Like they bought like a little solenoid and they built a bracket, and they have the P cool on on the Haas. So they just like built a bracket that attaches to the programmable coolant nozzle that's air, and then they just shoot air with that. It's really fucking cool.
That is cool.
And it costs like $50 to make.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
sick.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
So Harrison and I kind of had an argument the other day about automation versus hiring.
I mean, as somebody who has like had employee woes and like kind of always has employee woes, I guess, but like if you don't need to hire, I wouldn't hire. Like nobody was going to run or work in your business like you work in your business, and nobody works like a robot works, you know. One of the project in Washington, this guy, it's his first machine, only machine, period. Like he might end up with more, but his whole philosophy in like how we're like what we're doing here is like if you hire somebody, you're essentially renting an employee, you know? But if you have a robot, you're like buying that employee, so to speak, and like they're not going to leave, you know? Like or at least you hope they don't leave. Some Skynet situation or whatever, but like it I have like a big like I'm gonna hijack this in terms of like automation or whatever, and just like talk about employees in general, because I've just been having this thought like as I've gone. Like I've hired a couple of people now from like fairly, I wouldn't say like fairly large companies, but larger companies, larger than my company, and I've hired people that have worked in like basically like startup shops, very like grimy, like get like down and dirty shops, like you guys kind of have, you know, like the grimy is a bad word, but like where you're just like you're just everything to the shop. You know what I mean? It's you're judge, Judy, and executioner like all wrapped into one, and you have to like execute. And the guys that do that are much better than have been much better than the guys that I've worked at larger companies, because like
You got to think
they
on your feet.
but beyond that, it's like it is what I found is like companies, some of these companies are like very, very good at like building systems that make a person think they're working independently, when in actuality they're working like with guardrails, like very, very well hidden guardrails that keep them on track. And essentially what that does, like, and what I mean, like the stupid thing that I've been calling it is like a walled garden around them, which gives the, like, cause you're giving your employee the illusion of freedom, but not actually having freedom. But like, and to a certain extent, like if you crush, you can kind of like exit the garden, you know what I mean? And you can ascend to like higher levels and like work outside of the system. But the system, what the system is very good at is creating a floor that like like this is the level that like anybody inside of the system is going to produce for me, and that's what it's designed to do. And people that are like a little bit better will go to here and still be in the system, and they don't realize like that the walls are like this high, you know, and that they can that they are not seeing what's actually around them. Because what I've seen, like for me, is people have come to me and they're like, I don't need to be micromanaged, I'm good, whatever. And all of a sudden, like it's like, okay, I fucking hate micromanaging, so like here's a project, go get it done, and they fucking crumble, you know. Like the automation guy that I had, he like legitimately was doing all the shit that I asked of him to do, but he had to build the system, and he thought he could do that and he could not do that. You know, it was like there was a lot more shit going on and that was being done for him. And all of this to say, like, if you're going to hire an employee, I would like, and this is something that like I realized recently, is like I thought I was super ready to hire another employee, and like it was just it's been more difficult than I anticipated, because like everybody else that I had that cut was like very, very like motivated, you know, like self motivated, like actually self motivated. And one of the things that I want to do, like over like the next year or so, is start to like really, really spend time and like build this fucking system. So when I am ready to like plop somebody in, like they plop in and like they're on rails. You know what I mean? Everything is decided. Uh and to that point, going back to like the actual question of robots or hiring, it's the same kind of thought process, you know, more or less, like very tangential. But if you're going to hire somebody, I would think really, really hard, especially if they're a technical person, about a system that they're going to work within, because like nobody's going to think the way that you think, period. So like what information do they need to be able to work independently for the most part? And it's like not like truly, truly independent, because you're like giving them a lot of information, but like how can you set it up so that you're not having to like do their work and your work, right? And that is critical for a technical guy. You can kind of do less with like more admin people if you're going to hire an admin person, because like that's kind of like a on rails type of situation already. Like a bookkeeper is going to bookkeep, like, period. But to that other point of like building systems, like if you're going to automate, you better be sure you're ready to like actually automate. Like do I have my chip management under control? Do I have my coolant system under control? Do I have my air system under control? Blah blah blah. It's the same fucking thing. Just like you're just looking at it from like a mechanical standpoint rather than a people standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Makes complete sense. And that's honestly why I've been scared, because I know I don't have the systems in place to hire someone and bring them into my environment.
Yeah, and this is like it is the I mean it's the whole fucking e-myth thing, you know, about being a technician or being the business owner or whatever. And the thing for guys like us is we like to be the technician. Like I like, and like the business has been built like so far, like for me, and it sounds like for you guys, about being like the guy that does the work. So it's very difficult to pull yourself away from that to start building a system, because like the essentially if you're not working in the business, then you're not making money. So how the fuck do you balance that whole situation? Or you do like what AJ does and you spend like your Sundays or whatever fucking around with extra stuff to like keep yourself sane, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, for me, if I'm going to have to build a system, I'd much rather build a system for a robot than a system for a person.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
you're gonna be doing similar stuff, and then if I do hire a person, I have to build a system for them. It's going to be a lot harder to keep them on rails while I'm building a system for automation at the same time. Versus, I think I can build a system for automation. If I need to step away and keep the machines running, I can do that without having to fight a person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean like I would say, all like with everything being said, it's important to do both, because like at a certain point, like you can only scale a robot like robots so much before you max yourself out still. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
kind of like a parallel path type of situation
Hmm.
where you want to do both. But like you said, it is easier, like the mechanical aspect and like getting to build the system with like the type of shit you're good at, which is like the technical aspect of the business, is like way easier in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's mostly just money, like
Yeah.
what it kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
It's funny how
Yeah.
that happens in business.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So with a robot, let's say you have someone who is a excellent machinist and they've, been making parts for a long time. They have a machine that's, dialed, good speeds and feeds, good libraries, good tool libraries. They have, they know how to make programs for it. How long would it take to slap a robot on that machine, like, and get it up and running parts? So if you have someone who's a good machinist but no experience with automation.
It that like so well that's a larger question than I think you think it is. Like, so in that context, like what do you like, to what level are you talking about? Like are you talking about like I have a robot let me make this work,
Let me
or
be more
or what?
specific. My hypothetical person's Harrison and
Right.
his machine.
Yeah.
So the reason Harrison and I were arguing the other day is I'm actually not advocating for employees. I've said ever since I started Audacity Micros, I don't plan on hiring anybody.
Yeah.
But I
Hence the
think it's going to be
micro,
more
baby.
difficult for him to get a robot started than he thinks it is. And I'm worried that he's going to get buried in work
Well, this is like
before. Yeah.
I don't. The other thing is like, unless you plan to sell a robot system, I would never tell. Like, I will never advocate to roll your own ever. Just go to a guy like Lights Out is going to always be better at this than you are. You know what I mean? And there is like legitimately like zero benefit to you to figure it out on your own. Like none, in my opinion. Like you might think there is, but you're good at cutting and they're good at automation. So let them do their job and you do your job. And like that was like my whole thing is I thought I wanted to get into automation, but it turns out that if I work with guys that are good at automation and I can be cutting, we create like a much better team together as opposed to like trying to like take away from my core competency to like start working on this other thing that is total like that is tangential but not actually important to my business whatsoever, where like I could just work with these guys like at the same time of like you can build your system around a robot. Like I would just go to Lights Out or some other integrator or whatever and work with them because like they can build that system. You could tell them what you want to do. They'll build that system in fucking 8 weeks. Build it, install it, train you on it in 8 weeks. You know, if you so desire. If you want to buy a robot, they'll fucking sell you a goddamn robot too. But like I would advocate strongly to just like working with somebody who's good at this because like they're just going to be better at it and it's going to happen faster. Like you see like, oh, like if you need automation, then don't do it yourself, period. Like if you don't actually need it, then and you just want to do it, like like there is truly like zero amount of justification for like, oh, it'd be better or cheaper or whatever. Bullshit. No, it's not. Like it's gonna take you longer. It's gonna cost you more money, like because you're gonna like especially once you factor in your time, like it's gonna take way longer. It's gonna be a worse product realistically because you don't do this all the time and you don't know what you're doing. Like if you just want to do it just to do it, say that. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's good for me. But like, there is no amount of justification for rolling your own automation.
Yeah.
Period.
And here's the deal. I'm not going to say I'm going to go one way or the other. Part of it is
Mm-hmm.
a want and part of it is for fun. I'm definitely not going to disagree with that. Part of it will eventually become a need. My whole thing with automation is it's the way the industry's going, and I have every decision that I have made in the business from day one has been building to a point where I can bring automation in the shop.
Sure.
That is the direction I have started out from day one going, and the sooner I can get it in here, it's kind of like the reason I got the Haas over the Doosan whenever we were going up from the Tormach is I wanted the minimum viable, cheapest 5 axis I could get into my shop to start playing around with and learning and figuring out my likes and dislikes. I'm kind
Sure.
of the same opinion with my automation. I'm not looking for a forever solution. I'm looking to get my hands dirty in the automation world as fast as possible to work through the pitfalls.
Right.
Because
Then just buy it from somebody who does it really well because that's going to happen the fastest.
yeah, and so that's my like I think that's maybe something I haven't expressed fully is like I want to automate, I need to automate. That's the direction I'm going to go before I hire someone. And part of that is because I want to learn it myself as much as possible. I want to learn the
Right.
pros and
And
cons. I
that's,
want to find the
and
problems
I
and I
mean,
want to
that's
work through
really
them.
right. And so, like, that is, but at the same time, like, you don't know what you don't know. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So, like, the pros and cons, like, you don't know those.
Exactly.
Like
I didn't know about that
you
about the
and you
5-axis either.
won't know them by doing it yourself, because like you're still gonna not like have like this isn't your core competency. So you're gonna be in that situation where it's like, well, this thing can't do this, but it's like, yes, it can. You just don't know how. And like if you just went to somebody who does this all the time,
Oh, I
like
have no
lights
problem
out,
going to anyone.
like yeah,
I,
I mean, I just my whole thing, like always, go to lights out. They'll turn you. They want to make you good at automation and not build you another system. That's their goal. They just want to sell you the shit, right?
Mhm.
So they'll white glove the first one. They'll tell you everything you need to know, and if you want to roll your own after that, fucking do it. You know. But I would buy the first one from them. It's such the easy button, and like it's all everything that you want to do and everything that you're talking about. They just do it. They check all those fucking boxes, dude. It's
Mhm.
like not even a question.
Yeah.
Pallet
And
system, direct part loading, easy, done.
yeah.
Like no problems.
Yeah. And that's what I've been leaning to the hardest and the longest. Like that's the number
Yeah,
one system on my list.
yeah, they're the best. They're the
So,
best integrators I've ever worked with. Period. Like the best.
mhm.
I wouldn't consider hardly anybody else. Like Trinity's like a close second, but that's just like if you don't want to know anything, you just want to buy a really expensive box. Trinity is sick. They have higher payloads right now. Cause like UR only goes up to like the 60 pounds or whatever.
Mhm.
So, but
But
like
I don't need
if
that much
for
weight.
right, but for what you're doing, like lights out without question, gets it done. You'll pay more money obviously, but like they'll get it done fast and they'll tell you everything.
Mhm.
Like like Graham and I have worked in a place on weekends, together. Like their guys will like rewrite, oh, I want it to do this. Okay. Done. Here it is. Boom.
Mhm.
And it's all like I think it is all like Python or Java or whatever for UR. It's a
So,
very familiar language.
do you know, just out of curiosity, on their pallet loading system, because this is something I've wondered. Does the robot actually, do you load your code onto the robot and it sends it to the computer, or do you have all the programs on your computer and it'll call
The
on the
programs are on
controller?
the programs are on the control, and then it uses what's called a dispatch program. So like the cool thing about what lights out's system does, because it's a UR and it's open, is you can put the pallets like wherever, it
Hmm.
doesn't care. You could tell it's this one and then move it, but it has like a good UI. And the robot it uses RFID. So as soon as the robot like looks at it, it's like, oh, this is this program, and it just reloads a macro variable, and then the dispatch program calls that variable and it cuts it, and then it moves on to the next one.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very slick.
Oh, so like with their pallet loading system, you can put any pallet in any location and it'll just like go in the order of the pallets, kind of.
Yes,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
it's very cool. They have a very slick system for pallets.
That's really cool. And then you
Yeah.
can have like multiple offline pallets, and anytime you want to bring any of them in the queue, you just set them on.
Yep.
Hmm. Can it do anything where like they talk to each other, like if a tool breaks and it skips a pallet, or won't call a
Mm,
pallet if it doesn't have the tools in the machine?
I don't think so, but that's more on the machine side or like macro stuff than it is
Gotcha.
the robot itself. Like like there's a handful of machines that I like
So
Matsura has that functionality built into it, and they have really built that into their tool check macro or whatever. But you could just
yes,
write a macro for that. That's kind of like a fairly trivial thing to
yeah,
write.
I see what you're saying. So you could write it into your program where it checks all the tools before it runs it, and
Yeah.
then can you have it like spit out like a toggle that says not machined or problem or something, and then
That
your
I'm
dispatch would
that
know.
I'm not sure if you could get it to do that. I can't really answer it to that level, but I can say that like one of the easiest thing you could do is if it doesn't have it, you instead of like you just have it like spit the pallet out, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have the visual cue of like, oh, it just didn't cut this one.
Yeah.
So I fucked up somewhere.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's simple enough.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yep.
Well,
Now,
speaking.
oh, sorry, Jay, go ahead.
I was going to segue to the Patreons by calling them simple.
Oh,
Did you want to keep going down that train of thought, or
No, I had a different thought on automation, and that
we have a ton
was
of Patreon questions?
Oh, we do. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try to
Cool.
make this one. I'll try to make this one real quick.
All right.
In terms of chip management, do you have any like washdown systems that you recommend to
Swarf Unlimited, the only
Swarf
one,
Unlimited?
the best
Okay.
one. Yeah,
Okay. I think that's the
best
one
and
I was
only.
looking at.
Yeah,
I think that's the one I was looking at.
They're the best.
Okay. Sweet. Go ahead,
Speaking
AJ.
of the best and not simple, we have Patreons.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
Patreons
For your
who
money.
support our show get access to the Q&A. Actually, even if you don't pay, you get access to the Q&A.
Freeloaders.
The non-freeloaders get early access to all of our episodes and access to the Patreon Discord, which soon may start getting live streams of our podcast.
Yeah.
But our Patreons include Trey from Vestal Machining, Guy L, Eric H, Freaky Climber, Alex B, Scott from Design the Everything, Jamie from JSpec Engineering, Chris from Zyke Precision, EJ from Nocturnal Weldy, and Simon V, Chris from Thought Bomb Design, Wenzy Toozy Systems, DSI, and as ever, Jake Brownson. Those are the $10 and up members. We also have a couple new members in the Buck a Month tier or Buck a Show tier. We have Quack, Murray, and Doug H. So thank you
cool.
guys.
Hell yeah.
Hey, this is getting long. You guys
Yeah.
know we're done with IMTS, right? The Patreon was largely for IMTS. If you guys want to leave, that's fine with me. Otherwise, your money will go to
Keep
upgrading
giving the
our
money.
equipment.
Let's go.
Okay, so Q&A. Leyland Bray says, use machine recommendations for a young, high-mix, low-volume shop that wants to maximize ROI on the next stepping stone machine and wants to stick with BT30 and Fanuc.
Robodrill. A used Robodrill.
You kind of box yourself in when you go BT30 and Fanuc.
Yeah. You can go use Robodrill, or like there are some pretty cool, like kind of harder to find, but like some older vertical Kitamuras that have a pallet changers that use BT30. Those are pretty slick. Trying to think. Like
There's a lot of off-brand BT30, not off-brand, but smaller
Nomura.
companies.
Nomura is a pretty cool Korean company that's like a Robodrill brother like with the Mitsubishi control. Those are pretty fucking cool, but finding a used one will be hard. But a new one, like a brother R450 like, is like $100,000 with like the pallet changer and everything.
that's cool.
It's pretty fucking nuts. Let's see what else is out there. You could probably find like a used like KMH 300A from like an old Methods machine, Kiwa. Like they made those. That's a horizontal, and they had those in a 30 taper. But they kind of suck, honestly. But you probably find it cheap. It would work. Like used Robodrill, you can always find those fucking things, and they're like kind of bulletproof and very cheap to work on. Good in a high mix, low volume environment. That would be my recommendation for a fucking BT30 Fanuc machine that's used. Very easy to find it in the Robodrill.
Oh, and there's a second follow-up question from
Okay.
him. Is an older Robodrill with the full 16i/31i control going to perform better / make better parts than something newer like a Thai or Korean with an OI/MD/MF?
I would go, if you can get the 31i, get the 31i. It just processes code faster and does better. You have more options available to you if you so choose to upgrade later.
If you were starting a shop right now, someone handed you $35,000, you wanted to be a job shop, would you go looking for an old Robodrill or go with, one of those new drill tap machines that are popping up all over the place?
If I had $35,000 right now, I'd
that
probably,
number was like a Sile, was that price range.
Right. I mean, I'd like, if I was confident in my ability and like I like the hubris is strong in this one, but so I'd probably be buying like a UMC or something, you know, like
For
rolling the dice,
35?
huh? Well,
A
yeah, it's
UMC.
fucking down payment, dog.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I
Yeah,
So
guess I was thinking cash, but
yeah.
when
I
you say
mean,
UMC,
cash money. The machine that I bought was 6 grand. You know,
what'd you get?
Matsura vertical with a pallet changer, 2001, 15,000 RPM spindle. It rips. It did cost like I did. It cost me more to move it than it
I was
did
gonna
to like
say that's
actually have it.
really good price.
Yeah, it was broken. I got it fixed though,
Oh,
and like I had a pretty sweetheart deal on getting it fixed. If I'm being honest, like it cost me money, but I like no money left my account, if
gotcha.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like it was like a tradesy
exchange.
kind of deal. So that was dope. Those Matsura RA2Gs, you can pick those up like for 20, $30,000 and they're fast. Like it's just a vertical with a pallet changer and they rip. Like it's as fast or faster than like a newer VF2, you know?
So another question that might be a good question, kind of based off of that, is what do you think is the best value machine currently? If you could dollar for dollar, you get the most out of it.
Haas.
Haas.
I mean, like realistically, like it's really hard, like, especially I mean, I'm also an asshole with this, is like, I'm a big archer, not the arrow guy, you know? So, like, if you're
Gotcha.
talking about bang for the buck, like a UMC 500, UMC 750 is, like, tremendous value, and if you're careful and, like, patient and good, you can get a lot out of that machine.
Yeah, I,
It's
I've
really
s-
hard to compete.
I've said that about back when I had my Tormach days. I was competing when I had my Tormach, and I was with one of my customers, and they asked me what machine I was doing to make their parts, and I told them it was a Tormach, and they fell out of their chair, and they're like, "There's no
Yeah,
way you're making these parts," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it takes me probably 3 or 4 times as long as everyone else, if not longer,
right.
but you can make good parts on almost any machine if you spend the time."
Yeah, it's just archer, not the arrow, you know? That's just if you're good, baby. Doesn't matter what you got.
Mm-hmm. Good machine just makes it easier.
Yes, correct.
all right, next question from Doug H. Biggest challenge you have faced and are facing scaling a consulting service business?
Uh, the hardest thing is, well, the biggest challenge is just like the employee side of things is difficult and properly like, well, there's a couple of things here, which is like properly scoping work, properly valuing work, and like correctly hiring employees, you know, and like setting expectations accordingly. Like this is a hard job, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in like, or like in most cases, I don't think I'm doing anything particularly heroic, you know, or that like I'm much better than most anybody else at anything, but it apparently is very hard to do what I do. You know, I don't know. It's which is pretty wild. So like it's it's a big like expectation management thing. The scoping and scheduling the work accordingly is like very very important. I did a bad job. Well, I was very very broke. I was like very sad and very broke at the beginning of this year. So I like shot out a lot of quotes and nobody said no, which was cool because like money. But now I'm like, now I have like work on top of work on top of work, and like getting it done is like very very difficult. And just like with the current situation, I'm like traveling a lot and doing like way too much, but I've like essentially turned off work for the rest of the year. And so biggest challenge is being able to like take a step back and like look at the business holistically and like what it needs to do in order to sustain without me so much. And like that's where we like have turned on these retainer deals, which have like kind of brought money in somewhat sustainably. And Like we have like 4 or 5 of them now, and like $2,500 a piece. It's like pretty solid cash flow without too much time commitment. And like one of them is just like constantly feeding us work. Like it's just like constant. Like like it's truly like almost difficult for me to do anything else because they're very needy, which is good, but it's hard. Yeah. So building proper systems so that I don't need another one of me is the biggest challenge.
It's that whole same systems conversation for shops just applied to
Right.
you.
Yes, correct.
I have a feeling we're about to see that thought come back up again. But the next question: most common mistakes you see when you watch companies scale from small 1 or 2 people to medium 5
Right.
plus people and machines.
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean, it is the same. It's like it is like the whole heroic leadership thing. It's very very easy to do stuff when you're by yourself or like when there's 1 or 2 people to like just like crank and crank and crank, but and you're like a handful of A players, but as you like get bigger, if you don't invest the time in proper systems, then your scalability like kind of goes to shit and you're just like stretching yourself thinner and thinner and thinner. And it like I do like I mean at an hour plus into this is like it is a lot easier said than done to build and maintain the system. Actually, like the maintaining the system is the hardest part, really, not the building of the system, but it's just maintaining it and like making sure that you're adhering to it and like that everybody's adhering to it and having the like awareness to know what you are and aren't good at, and what you should and shouldn't be doing and what you can hand off to people and whatever. Like it, one of the like kind of like the on the larger philosophical scale of the whole thing is just like trust is hard, if you've built the whole business yourself or like with a partner. Now that you're bringing people from the outside in, like it is hard to give up control because it feels like you're like literally giving up control. So like finding somebody that you can trust to just like hand the keys to the kingdom off to is like hard.
Yeah.
So it's just systems, like building systems fucking everywhere. Like what is it, like plan the work the plan kind of thing, you know? And don't be afraid to like just throw it all out and start over, which is annoying, but sometimes it's what you got to do. It's just not working. Fuck it. We're moving on to the next thing.
All right. Speaking of moving on to the next thing, next question. This is from Murray. This is for all of us. Ballpark, how long does it take to program a medium complexity 3-axis 2-op part in Fusion?
I don't know, like an hour.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it depends. It is either like 15 minutes, it falls into my template, everything's good, or it's like 2 or 3 hours of me trying to, program the surfacing, the draft angle that I didn't notice was drafted when I took the job.
Right.
How many phone calls and interruptions is included in that hour? That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking, if it's like actual calendar time versus like programming time, that like medium complexity part could take like a week.
Yeah.
I cheat with this because like, I'm just doing Xometry stuff. So I look for jobs that will just fall into my templates.
Right.
Most people do not get that luxury.
Right.
So
I don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
All right. So question for Chris. You work with a lot of different companies. How many are profitable? How many are killing it? How many are losing money? If you can tell. And do you think this is a good time to come into the job shop space?
That's a really tough thing to answer because like there's places that I'm like, oh wow, these guys are crushing. Like defining what killing it is kind of like, are we just killing it like financially?
I think this is all financially, yes.
Yeah, because some places the shop is like fucking dog shit. You know what I mean? Like it's a total mess. It does, you like truly cannot understand how they're making money, and they're just making so much fucking money they don't know what to do with, and it's like the most infuriating thing in the world. Most of those, and like I see those a lot where they're like total nightmares. Um, and you see a lot of shops that are like pretty fucking dialed, but they're just like not killing it as hard. The company that I'm at right now, I think they flow like $40 million a year in business through it at the moment, or something like that. And it's a fucking nightmare. Like, I don't know. Like, it is truly insane how any amount of money gets like generated through that place. It like just off the woes of this one machine that I'm involved with is like, how is this even possible? What was the
It's
original question again? Like, what do I see that they're doing?
it's basically like when you're looking at all these shops, like are they generally doing well or are they generally doing badly?
It's I mean, typically if if they're bringing me in, they're either doing like pretty well and they just want to get better, or they're like on their last leg. You know, it's like one of the other, and they're
Do you
trying
have?
to like
Go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I
what
was
were
just
you
gonna
saying?
say, do you have any success stories where like there's a company that was like dying that you came in and revolutionized?
No. I don't think so, really. Like, the closest I have is the solar tools guy who we started with a mini mill in his garage, and now he's like, and then he bought a VF2 with the automation, and now he's like about to buy a building and stuff. And he's like in Home Depot now, and he's like about to buy a building and stuff it full of machines, you know? So that's pretty cool. That's a good one. On like dying, there is a company that was dying, but they didn't really want to listen, and they kept hiring back the person who was causing them to die, and now they're dead. So it's over. Yeah. Nope.
So the last part of that question was: is now a good time or a bad time to start a job shop?
I don't know. Do you got the work? Like, can you like? The answer is like, do you have the money to like sustain, and do you have like the work for real? Like, if you don't have the work, then don't do it. You know, like, I don't know. That's a really hard. Like, I don't know his like actual financial situation. Is he like fairly good to like buy a machine and like roll the dice, or is
I
he?
I'm not familiar with Murray. Sorry, Murray. Unless I do know you and I just don't recognize your
Yeah.
Patreon name.
Sorry.
I
I mean, the
He may
answer
be
is like,
like thinking about starting to work up from like a Tormach or something. Like
yeah,
we all started, in our garage with a cheap machine and no work.
there there's always a need for like good shops, you know. I would say like kind of all the time there's always a need for good shops. There's a constant there's a lot of like bigger shops that kind of suck, or they're slow, or like whatever. But again, like, can you get the work? Yes or no? Like, if you're talking about job shop and not like zometry work, like maybe that's like, I'm assuming that he has the option to get the work. Is it a good time? Like, I don't know. I can't answer.
So
I have no desire to have a job shop, so no idea.
Do
I
you
will
think it's
say if
getting hard? Oh, sorry, Harrison.
I was just gonna say it seems like if you can get a job shop going when it's a bad time, that usually means you're doing something right.
That's
Versus when
fair.
it's a good time and then you get into a bad time, you might find out real quick that you can't actually make it on your own and you just caught a wave.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I don't know if that's like helpful information for him, but that is a fair point.
All right. So, extension of that question for me. Do you think it's getting easier or harder to get into manufacturing as a outsider?
Uh, I think it's easier. Like, it's hard to, I mean, that's really hard to answer because like I see a lot of stuff, but like more more and more I will see shops willing to like take let younger kids like people in their 20s just like fucking run. because what other choice do you have? You got a fucking smart kid who's like ready to go. Like, fuck it. What's the worst? Like, they're trying to get parts out the door. Let's go, baby. So I think it's easier than it has been. Like, there's a lot more information out there. The community as a whole, like on Instagram and on Discord and whatever, is like very helpful. Not like we're not like commies and we're gonna like give you work or whatever, but everybody's willing to help everybody for the most part, you know. Uh like I think it's a great time, obviously, to get into manufacturing. Like there's just not enough people. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested, fucking yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen a lot of shops dying in your as you've been traveling around the U.S.? Because in our area alone, I think I've seen four major shops closed down since I've started, and we're just now starting year 3. So on average
Mm,
of over one a year, major shop.
I only know of one shop closing
Hmm.
in like my travels or whatever. And I like, and it does not come as a surprise to me at all. It's the one that I was talking about earlier. Like, no, like, not at all a surprise. I'm trying to think if I've like any other shops have like shuttered that I've been around. No, I don't think so. Not that I know of personally, anyway.
Hmm.
I've seen a bunch of shops in this area start to close down too. Though I think like the shops that you interact with, I don't think are the kinds of shops that are closing down as much. The shops that are
That's
closing
Right.
that
down
could
in
be
this
valid.
area are the ones that have like, 3 Bridgeports in the corner and a, 1980s hardened CNC mill or something. Like they're
Right.
the
Right.
old grimy, dirty, like non-modern shops. That's what I see closing down. They're dropping like
O-
flies in this area.
Only one out of
Yeah.
the 3 or one out of the 4 was a grimy shop like that. One of the shops I used to send work to, and I got a tour of their facility, and they had a massive horizontal that was machining presses for the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3.
Oh, that's probably why they went out of business. They're doing work with Tesla.
No, they were like a 4th tier supplier or a 3rd tier supplier in that chain.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah, so that's even more. That's worse. Like
well,
with Tesla, they squeeze so much money out of everything.
well, I say that that wasn't their main business. Like they
Oh,
had a
gotcha.
lot of machines in there, and they've been in the industry or in this area for 60 years or so.
Okay.
They had a lot of equipment that just people didn't have around here, and so I think a lot of the work that they needed for that different type of equipment just became scarce over time.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that all makes sense. I haven't, yeah. Yeah. I don't interact with those shops at all.
yeah, they they were like they were like one of two shops in the area with a wire EDM. They had, I want to say it was a Blanchett grinder. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know what it was, but it was a massive machine. It had like a disc on the ground that was 12 foot in diameter, so like a
The
vertical
fuck?
turning center or something. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
Vertical lathe.
huge. It was insane. But they
Yeah.
had some like equipment like that, and then they'd have like wire EDMs, and then they'd have just like your normal jelly bean machines, and they had like 3 buildings with all kinds of random crap in them. It was wild.
Yeah. Sounds like they got a little bloated. And they closed?
Well, they got bought out
Oh,
like three
that's a
years
win.
ago, and then the
Yeah.
people that bought them out ended up closing down because their head guys ended up leaving.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. 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 Uh, classic.
yeah, so they just closed it
I
down.
I thought I had more questions in Discord, but they're all statements. None of them are questions.
Oh, what are the statements?
I'll be in peak Canadian Thanksgiving dinner, but if you record it and post it afterwards, I'd like to listen in.
Okay.
Yes, not a question.
Cool statement, bro.
This one says, "That's awesome. Love Zap's energy." I suspect you'll have a lot to say about automation and the direction the industry is headed.
Okay.
Which, yeah, that has been what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Do you have any one brand of machine that you're like, either that you have strong opinions on, either pro or con?
I guess like I mean, personally, I'm not really partial to Doosan. Can't really tell you why, but like I would basically
can.
rather have a Haas than a Doosan, if I'm being honest with you.
That's kind of what I'm
And
turning into.
yeah. And I don't know. Like I am pretty overwhelmingly positive on like Matsura and Haas. I think those are good. I think Haas gets too much hate. But I mean, anything that popular is gonna be fucking kind of hated a little bit. And I think I don't know. There's a lot of like weird vitriol against Matsura too. I think, but what can you do? Like people think they're ugly. I don't know. It's just like not a thing that crosses my mind. And in general, like Fanic stuff gets a lot of hate, but it's like just get good. It's not that hard. Um.
It's
Yeah.
not
I
that
don't
it's
know.
hard; it's annoying for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still same thing. Like, just get good. You'll get used to it. It's fine. It's very powerful. It's like much more powerful than the Haas control is. So like, if you just like
Yeah, I see that.
stick with it, it's like you can do cooler shit. It's just like I will agree that it's annoying, and like that Haas has a objectively more user friendly control, but I don't know. Still gonna fanboy for Fanic.
Although I do think I blue screened my Fanic machine today.
Yeah, it's a do something.
So I think I crashed it. Well, what happened was it was in the middle of an
The
ATC.
controller, not the mill.
Yeah, the
right?
controller.
Okay.
Not the machine. The machine didn't crash. That's a completely different type of crash. No, it was in the middle of a tool change and I had hit a button and it stopped. And in the process of trying to go through the ATC recovery, it like blank screened on me. And I had to like close everything down and try to bring it back and try to get back into a mode where I could recover it.
It's pretty cool.
So that was fun. And what's great is, it was right before this podcast. It was the last thing I did in the shop, and none of the texts that I called would answer. And so I ended up going on like YouTube and on my phone, like trying to find different things. I finally found a video that walked me through the steps because this is the first time I'd run into an ATC recovery issue on the Doosan. So that was stressful as well, especially because they're like, oh, this magical button should fix it. And that was the only thing the video showed. And it was like, it didn't freaking work. So
Classic.
It was like, and that was the only thing in the video. It was like, well, if that doesn't work, then,
then you're fucked.
Yeah. So I did figure it out though. It was just a couple pages over from where they dropped me off. But anyways,
classic, very classic.
But yeah, I forget where I was going with all that.
Just that you agree that Doosan's kind of suck, but it's okay.
So far, yeah, they haven't impressed me as much as I was hoping they would.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the like, I'm sure they're fine. Like I just haven't had like a great experience with them, and like their whole thing being them being like sold on, like, hey, we can ship them and deliver them really fast, and you're like, but are they good? And they're like, we'll get it to you quick. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, there was a question I was curious about. So I had a customer. I'm getting into the firearms industry some, and I hear you're a bit of an expert in that area.
I guess.
I had a customer who asked me if I could do slides from scratch. And
yes.
Easy? On a Haas?
Sure. Yeah. On your 5-axis, 2 ops.
2 ops?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many tools do you have?
30.
It might be kind of tough, but like you can do it. But you might, I mean, truly, you could probably do it in 2 ops even on your Doosan.
Oh, really? They're both 30 tools.
Yeah. But then you might be able to do 1 op on the Doosan, 1 op on the, if you were like high production, you could probably do like an op on the Doosan and an op on the 5-axis.
Okay. There was a couple tighter-ish tolerances that had me a little bit worried, but that
Nah,
was about it.
they're fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. Well, the point of that is, I don't think I'm going to end up getting them just because they told me they found a company that kind of specializes in that work.
Sure.
But they sent me the prints, and so and the model, and I kind of want to make some just as like bragging rights and to go through the experience of doing it. And they
Okay.
also need like a rush order of 10 of them before the other shop can get to them.
Yeah.
So it might be
Yeah,
worth
just do it.
just
Yeah,
to
you
do them.
can. Yeah, what did we do? Like hold it on its side, like on the side, so you can get to the top and the inside
Mm-hmm.
on the 5 axis, and do a lot of your, and then like kind of flip it over and either grab it from the inside that you just cut where all the important shit is,
Mm-hmm.
and finish that one side out, or just kind of like grab it on the outside if you can and
Would you not
finish
do
it that way.
bottom up and then just finish the top afterwards, or do you need to be able to
No.
access? Do you need to be able to access the whole?
You want to be able to do, there's
Because
something about, I mean, without looking at the print, typically like the one side doesn't matter. Like one of the sides like doesn't ever really matter as much as the top, the
gotcha,
other side and the bottom.
and
And
that's just
like
be yeah,
there's shit on the top that tends to matter, if I'm thinking about this correctly, where you want it like positionally good to like shit on the inside.
gotcha,
Yeah, so I like, and one of the sides like truly is just like cosmetic and doesn't matter at all.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we'll have to think about it because I they told me how much price wise what these slides would go for, and I really freaking want the work because it would justify getting another machine in the long run at the volumes they're talking. But I don't know if I can talk them into letting me take the work on with the fact that there's just two of us and we're a fairly new shop. But I really want to. I want to take
Yeah.
on that challenge. I'm
Yeah,
It's
chomping at
do
the
it.
kind of
bit
the
at it now.
it's kind of the chicken and the egg problem where you need the work to get the machine, but you need the machine to get the work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you had
and
one
I'm
of those pieces in place, you'd be fine. But
yeah, and so what I need to do is I need to get the work working on my Haas and get to a point where I can get them the confidence to give me the work outright, basically. Is I think
Right.
what needs to happen. So,
That makes sense.
but okay, well that gives me confidence if you think it shouldn't be that big of a deal because you've
Yeah.
been in that industry more than I have.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Like
Okay,
just like, I mean, obviously like just keep an eye on your tight tolerance stuff and you should be okay. I'm
yeah,
assuming it's like 17.4 or 41.40 or 43.40 or something like that.
yeah. It was a tool steel that
Oh, interesting.
but they're switching it over to I think a 400 series stainless,
Oh, that's interesting. That's
or
really
I
interesting.
think I'll have to go double check.
Yeah.
I think it's a 416 stainless steel.
All right.
super random question here before we start to wrap up. When you make fixtures, what do you make them out of? So like, for example, I just got that Aroa base. That Aroa base needs a adapter plate to fit on my Saunders plate. What
Yeah.
what's your go-to material for something like that?
A lot of the time, aluminum. Like I'll make shit out of aluminum, and then all the critical stuff, uh, like helicoil, and like make wear stuff like steel or whatever. So it's easy to machine and lightweight and rebuildable.
So you don't think there's
Especially,
any?
well, I like, especially if I am not 100% if it's gonna be final. You know, like if I'm not sure, then it's for sure gonna be out of aluminum. But then if it's locked in and it's not going anywhere, then fuck it, we'll make it out of steel. But I haven't made a lot of steel fixtures.
So would you go like 41? If you do go steel, do you do mild steel 4140,
I
stainless?
If you can get it at like A36 a lot. It's fairly, I mean, it's fairly cheap, but you can get like similar properties to like A2 out of it.
Really?
Yeah. Like it'll harden like A2 pretty much. Like, and it's 3 times cheaper than A2. And it cuts really nice and easy. It makes good fixture material.
I was literally just machining some of that today.
Yeah.
Something, I don't remember if we talked about the parts I had warp and heat treat at all. Did we talk about that? No, that wouldn't have happened last week. I had some parts do some crazy warping. They're like 1/16 of an inch thick exactly by like 6 by 3 or something like that.
Okay.
And they had some like slots that went down the length of them or almost the length of them. And so they kind of like they had fingers, but the fingers were connected on both ends. And when they heat treated these things, one of the fingers on the far side just went whoop and moved, gosh, on some of them probably 3/4 of an inch.
Cool.
So I was working with my heat treaters today on like how we're going to fix this going forwards. And I today made them some custom, I don't know if it's a quenching plate or how they're going to use it, but basically it's a big press that they're going to use to help keep it from warping. Maybe when they are tempering it, maybe that's when it goes in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting. 3/4 of an inch. That's a lot. That's a fucking ton.
I wish I had the parts to show you, but they're back at the heat treaters. They think they can save at least some of them.
Okay.
Because I had a lot of time in those parts.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Speaking of the heat treat, it is a 416 stainless that they want heat treated to the 43 to 46 Rockwell after the fact.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
So, and then another add-on question to mine on the slides. Do you think a CMM would be required for checking over these?
Maybe like
the tightest tolerance that I've been able to find on the prints, just going through a couple pages, was about 4/10 in a couple locations.
And its location?
It's, I think, depth and diameter.
Then no. You probably don't need a CMM. You could probably do it with like Deltronic pins and like a height gauge.
Location wise, it looks like the closest is going to be like 2 thou on some weird things.
Yeah.
I'd have to convert it from metric to know for sure, but
right. It's like 0.8 millimeters, right? No, 0.2 millimeters. What a fool.
0.1 or 0.2 millimeters, something like that.
Yeah.
0.1 is like 4 thou.
4 thou. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 0.13 is 5 thou.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
There's a lot of 0.1 call outs. So that'd be around
4 thou.
4 thou.
Yeah, 0.1 millimeters. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So
easy
0.4
peasy.
and 0.1 and
0.025.
0.025.
That's a thou. Yeah, that's pretty tight. How many datums?
I'm not good at the datum thing.
Well, like that. So the 0.025 isn't like a GD&T call out?
No, they have some GD&T call outs, but I'm not good at knowing what all the GD&T call outs mean. I need to brush up on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But from what I can see, I'm seeing, I think 4 datums. 3 datums.
Okay.
3 datums.
Yeah.
3 datums.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck around and try it. What's the worst?
Yeah.
You don't get the work. You're already not getting the work, so fuck it.
Well, there's a potential to get it, but at this point, I think it's a pipe dream. I think there's a potential to get like small batches of them, but not the high volume stuff that I really wanted. So
it's better than nothing.
No,
just
and
do a better job.
If I can prove it, if I can do it, I know it'll for sure open up the door on a lot of the other parts that are in there.
Right.
Because I'm doing 2 parts currently, and they're both very simple in the grand scheme of things. And I want to get more.
Cool.
So,
well, it's starting to get late.
Mentioned it to me was awesome. But go ahead. Sorry, AJ.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're getting to that point where it's time to say goodbye. So, anyways,
the red
thanks
light came on. We didn't even hit 2 hours, man. Come on.
I go to bed keep going on time, generally.
Okay, wow, fucking somebody's flexing on us over here. I go to sleep at a reasonable hour. All right, fuck
Yeah,
off.
whatever.
I may have done an all-nighter last week to get these parts to heat treat on time that then self-destructed, but
Nice.
Well, anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. Zap, it's been great to have you on here. It
Yeah.
is awesome to be able to pick your brain. I have listened to a lot of your podcasts with Dylan, so it's great
Big
to have
Daddy
you on
D.
and pinned down and be able to talk about some things. So
Yeah. I'll come back on if you want. I don't care. I'm down
yeah,
for it. This was fun.
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
We'll hit 2 hours next time though.
oh for sure.
Okay, we'll have to
I'm
start
okay
earlier.
with that.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. This has been Harrison with Precision Ingenuity, signing out with AJ from Audacity Micro and Chris from Zappettini Consulting. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.